I caught my boyfriend cheating on a live stream, kissing another woman at his bachelor party. I was in my wedding dress, 10 minutes before our final dress fitting, when it happened. And no, it wasn't a random hookup. It was his ex, the same one he promised me was just a toxic chapter he closed. That night, I was shattered. But I didn't scream, I didn't show up. A week later, I launched my own live stream, told the truth, showed the receipts, and his life has never been the same since. I still can't believe I'm writing this. I rewrote it 3 times because every version sounds insane. Like I'm in some deranged romantic comedy where the bride gets played for laughs except no one's laughing, and I'm out a fiancé, a dress deposit, and a future I thought I could trust. 10 days ago, I was standing in a boutique, lace veil pinned to my curls, heart pounding like a drumline, staring at myself in the dress. You know the one. The kind that makes your mom cry and your best friend squeal. I was glowing, practically floating. I just sent a mirror selfie to Mason. Nothing of the dress, just my face and the caption. About to say yes to the dress, he replied with, "Ugh, wish I could see you. You're gonna look unreal. Love you." I smiled at my reflection. 27 years old, stable job, cute apartment, engagement to a man I'd loved for 4 years who made me laugh, cooked a mean risotto, and left little love notes in my coat pockets. I felt lucky, blessed even. But 25 minutes later, while still in that dress, everything shattered. My friend Taylor, my ride or die since high school, rushed into the boutique like a hurricane in Doc Martens. No hello, no wow, you look stunning. Just a flushed face and her phone held up in front of her like a badge of rage. "Is this a joke?" she asked, voice shaking. On the screen, a live stream. Mason, my fiancé, at his bachelor party, kissing someone. But not just someone, his ex. His ex who still called him Mace. The one he once described as a hurricane in a miniskirt, and swore was the kind of chaos I'll never go back to. The camera angle wobbled as someone shouted, "Speech!" And Mason, looking very not drunk, and very much like he knew what he was doing, grabbed a mic and said, "To second chances, sometimes the past shows up in the best possible way." Then he kissed her, deeply, intimately, like I was nothing more than a footnote. I blinked at the screen, then at my reflection. The boutique music hummed softly in the background. My stylist was still fluffing the train. I felt like the floor had vanished from under me. Taylor looked like she wanted to smash something. "Do you want me to crash the party?" she asked. But all I could whisper was, "Who posted this?" Because the live stream? It was private. The boutique bathroom had those soft yellow bulbs, meant to make brides feel dewy and radiant. But no lighting in the world could soften what I saw staring back at me in that mirror. A woman in a wedding dress, mascara smudged from silent tears, gripping the edge of the sink like the room might start spinning. Taylor waited outside the door while I tried to calm the hurricane inside me. I kept refreshing the live stream link. It was gone now. Deleted. But not before 874 people had viewed it. And Taylor had screen recorded the whole thing. I changed back into my jeans and hoodie, folding the dress carefully like any of it still mattered. The boutique ladies tried to offer tissues and awkward, too sweet smiles. I didn't say a word. I couldn't. My throat felt raw, like I'd swallowed glass. We sat in Taylor's car in complete silence until she finally said, "Do you want to call him?" I shook my head. Not yet. Because calling him meant acknowledging it happened. I wasn't ready to give him that power. Instead, I texted him something casual. "How's the bachelor party? Behaving yourself?" His reply came instantly. "Of course. Love you." I stared at that message for a long time. That night, I made a list in the Notes app, on my phone. People who might have leaked the stream. Liam Mason's best man. Also known for posting everything to his socials like he's getting paid to overshare. Rachel Mason's sister. We've never gotten along. She once told me I was a little too intense for our family. Sabrina, the ex, the woman in the video. AKA, the living red flag he swore he'd burned years ago. The thing is, the stream wasn't public. It was on some app I'd never heard of, shared only with a private friends list, which meant someone chose me to see it. This wasn't some accidental spill. This was intentional. I spent that night curled on Taylor's couch, my engagement ring on the coffee table beside a glass of Pinot and a pint of cookie dough ice cream. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't stop playing that moment over in my head, to second chances, and the way he looked at her, like she was the one who got away. And then came the cherry on this already disgusting Sunday. Around 2:11 a.m., I got a text from an unknown number. "You deserve to know. Ask him about Tahoe." Tahoe? I sat up so fast. I spilled wine on Taylor's white throw blanket. Tahoe was where Mason said he was going on a solo cabin trip last month to clear his head before wedding stress kicked in. Except now I'm realizing, I never saw receipts. I never saw photos. Just a single Instagram story of trees and a blurry fireplace that could have been from anywhere. I didn't respond to the message. I just stared at it, heart racing, wondering who the hell S was and what they meant by "you deserve to know." I didn't sleep. I just kept rereading the message from that unknown number, "You deserve to know." Ask him about Tahoe. S. I didn't need a degree in detective work to guess S might stand for Sabrina, but why would she out herself? And if it wasn't her, who the hell was blowing this open? At 7:43 a.m., Mason texted, "Morning, baby. Can't wait to see you today. Dinner at your place?" The audacity. The man had kissed his ex on camera at his own bachelor party, and now he was asking if I wanted Thai takeout like nothing happened. I stared at the message for a full 5 minutes before replying, "Sure, Patsy, ew, and spring rolls?" Because I wasn't just going to confront him, I wanted him to walk right into it. While I waited for him to show up, I did what any woman scorned and fueled by iced coffee would do. I investigated. I scrolled through Mason's Instagram. Sure enough, 3 weeks ago, there was a photo of a fireplace with the caption, "Much needed solo reset." Except, there was something off. A tiny sliver of fabric barely visible at the edge of the frame. A fuzzy pink blanket. We don't own any pink blankets. But you know who posts spa day selfies with fuzzy pink throws in the background? Sabrina. I searched her socials private now, but her old public posts from last month were still tagged. I found a boomerang of clinking glasses in a dimly lit cabin. And when I zoomed in on the glass window's reflection, you guessed it, Mason. Clear as day, holding her waist. Tahoe wasn't a solo trip. Tahoe was their reunion. He showed up that night right on time, looking freshly showered, grinning like the world hadn't just cracked in half beneath us. "God, I missed you," he said, setting down the takeout. "Last night was wild. Liam almost fell into the pool." I forced a smile. "Yeah? Anyone else fall into something they shouldn't have?" He blinked. "What?" I motioned to the couch. "Let's eat. We need to talk." He looked confused, hesitated, but sat down. I handed him his box of noodles. Mine stayed untouched. Then I asked, calmly, "How was Tahoe?" His chopsticks froze midair. He blinked. Once. Twice. "What do you mean?" "Your solo reset. The fireplace. The fuzzy pink blanket. You know, the one Sabrina has." He dropped the noodles. His face. That's when I knew. No denial. Just fear. "You went through my socials?" he asked, voice suddenly thin. I didn't have to. Someone sent me a message. With a name. And a hint. He didn't say anything. Just ran a hand through his hair and let out a low, panicked laugh. "Mason," I said, voice shaking, "just tell me the truth. Were you with her?" Silence. Then, finally, he whispered, "It was just a weekend. It didn't mean anything." I panicked. She texted me out of the blue. I needed clarity before the wedding. Clarity. He cheated on me for clarity. I stood up. My entire body was shaking. My heart was pounding like a war drum in my chest. "You kissed her. At your bachelor party. You planned this." No, I didn't. That was just, it got out of hand, okay?" I backed away. "How long has this been going on?" His eyes darted to the floor. "It was just Tahoe." But I didn't believe him. Not anymore. Because I just remembered something. Sabrina lives in San Diego, and Tahoe wasn't even her first trip north this year. The minute he said, "It was just Tahoe," I knew he was lying. You don't risk your engagement, kiss your ex on camera, and sneak off to a romantic cabin for clarity, unless something's already been unraveling. I wasn't just dealing with a mistake. I was staring straight at a pattern. After he left that night, after stammering some half-hearted apology and begging me not to do anything drastic until we talked more, I opened a blank Google Doc and started typing. Mason Timeline Truth Edition. Call it heartbreak therapy or the slow birth of a revenge arc. Either way, I needed facts, proof, and most importantly, I needed to know how long he'd been choosing her over me. January 14th, Mason cancels our weekend getaway to visit his mom in Santa Cruz. New Instagram from Sabrina that same weekend captioned Ocean Air and Old Flames, February 3rd, our anniversary. He gives me a recycled gift, an engraved leather journal that had no initials and no wrapping. I assumed he forgot. 1 week later, Sabrina posts a story holding a matching journal in a wine bar, with M scrawled inside the cover. March 27th, his solo trip to Tahoe, the fuzzy blanket, the reflection, the lies. April 5th, bridal shower RSVP mix-up. Mason swears his sister must have accidentally sent Sabrina an invite. Except I never told him who was on the invite list. And now, of course, the final nail. April 13th, his bachelor party. The kiss, the toast, to second chances. The betrayal wasn't a spark, it was a slow, deliberate fire. I sent a screenshot of the reflection in the glass photo to Taylor. She responded in all caps, "Girl, he is toast. The audacity level is unhinged." Then, a follow-up. "Also, I just checked. Sabrina was at the same resort you picked for your honeymoon." Same room category too. Tell me that's not psychotic. My stomach dropped. Because it was the same resort. The one I'd spent weeks researching. The one Mason said he'd leave entirely up to me. I even remember him saying, "Babe, pick wherever you want. Just send me the booking confirmation when you've got it." Was that just another setup? Another way to revisit their romantic weekend? This time with me wearing a white dress? I felt nauseous. Then came the final twist that ripped the floor from under me. At 10:47 p.m., another unknown number texted me. "You're not the first fiancé he's done this to. Ask him about Haley." Haley? I sat up straight. That name familiar, in a blurry, distant way. I opened Facebook, typed it in. There she was, Haley Whitmore, mutual friend with Mason's college roommate. Timeline said they were engaged 6 years ago. No wedding photos, no married name. Her last public post, "Healing isn't linear. Sometimes the people you trust most are the ones who break you the worst," posted exactly 5 years ago. 1 week after the date, she and Mason were supposed to get married. I didn't sleep again. My brain was too loud looping Mason's kiss with Sabrina, the mystery text about Haley, and the growing realization that the man I thought I knew might be a serial heartbreaker with a diamond problem. By 6 a.m., I was on my third cup of coffee and had already typed out 5 different drafts of a message to Haley on Facebook. All of them sounded unhinged. I finally settled on something that felt direct but not deranged. "Hi Haley, this is probably the strangest message you'll get today. My name is Claire. Was engaged to Mason Grant. Someone anonymously told me to ask you about him. If this is crossing a line, I totally understand. But if you're willing to talk, I'd really appreciate it." She saw it within 10 minutes. And then, to my shock, she replied, "I've been waiting 5 years for someone to ask that. When are you free to talk?" We FaceTimed that afternoon. She looked nothing like the photos Mason once showed me from his old friend's wedding. Her smile was hesitant, eyes rimmed with exhaustion even after all this time. "He proposed to me after 2 years," she started, fingers tracing the rim of her mug. "Said he couldn't imagine life without me. Told my mom he'd never hurt me. Sound familiar?" I nodded, stomach in knots. He cheated 2 months before our wedding. I found out because I came home early and caught him FaceTiming another woman, shirtless, flirty, calling her sunshine. She scoffed. She lived in Portland. They'd met at a conference. I thought it was a one-time thing. He swore it meant nothing. But I checked his phone while he was sleeping. He had an entire album of her. Trips, dinners, hotel rooms. My skin prickled. She looked directly at me through the screen. "Claire, he didn't just cheat, he mirrored. He told her the same things he told me. The same nicknames. Same stupid Spotify playlist he made me." My breath caught in my throat. Mason made me a playlist too, called For My Forever. It had our song Bloom by the Paper Kites and 3 others I never questioned. Until Haley said, "Did your playlist have Bloom on it?" I nodded, eyes wide. "Wait, you too?" She nodded slowly. "And Lover Is a Day," and Turning Page. He told me he cried listening to that one because it made him picture our first dance. I grabbed my phone and pulled up the playlist. Every single song, identical. It wasn't just betrayal. It was recycled intimacy. Like Mason had a love script he just dusted off every time he got bored and needed a new leading lady. Haley looked down, her voice cracking. After I left, I found out there'd been 2 other women before me. One in college, one during a long-distance phase. He always cries, always begs, always blames stress, then does it again. I asked her why she didn't warn anyone. I tried. I posted cryptic things. I even messaged a girl once when I saw them together on Instagram. She blocked me. I felt a weird sense of shame, because maybe I would have blocked her too, if it had been me. She leaned in. "If he's engaged to you, Claire, I'm sorry, but I promise you, this ends the same, unless you end it." After we hung up, I sat in silence, the weight of her words settling over me like ash. I looked around my apartment, our place we'd been decorating for our post-honeymoon life, the framed save the dates by the door, the custom wedding favors still in unopened boxes. And then I remembered the text from the unknown number. "You deserve to know. Whoever sent that. They weren't trying to ruin my life. They were trying to save it." By the time Mason texted, "Can we talk? I'll do anything to fix this," I already had a plan. And that plan? It started with yes. "Okay, come over tomorrow night. Let's talk. Maybe we can move past this." He replied within seconds. "You have no idea how relieved I am. I'll bring wine. Just want to be honest. You deserve that." "Oh, Mason, you're finally right about one thing." I looped in Taylor first, because if I was going to emotionally ambush my lying, cheating, playlist recycling fiancé, I needed backup. "You're seriously going to let him come over?" she asked, arms crossed. "Not just come over," I said, grinning. "I'm going to let him confess. Then I'm going to show him exactly how many people already know." Taylor nodded like she was about to draft battle plans. You want me in the other room? No, I said, pulling up my phone. I want you live streaming it, privately, to a select group. She blinked, like, reverse cheater justice? Exactly. The next night, I did everything to make it look real. Set the table with candles, put on mascara, wore the navy wrap dress Mason once said, made me look like the kind of girl you marry. He arrived looking like a wet dog, groomed but guilty, holding a bottle of red wine he knew I hated. Claire, he started the moment I opened the door. Thank you for giving me a chance. I've been such an idiot. Sabrina meant nothing. Tahoe meant nothing. You're the one I want. I smiled gently. Come in, let's eat. He followed me inside, completely unaware that Taylor was in my bedroom with her laptop, watching everything. The stream? Already active. Viewers included Haley. An anonymous account I knew was Sabrina Coward didn't even change the default avatar, Liam Mason's sister Rachel, and one name that made my heart stutter, M. Grant Mom. Mason's mom was watching. We sat down, and I let him talk. He rambled for 10 minutes about stress and pressure and how he didn't know how to cope, about how Sabrina manipulated him, that tired cliche. I listened, nodded, even dabbed the corner of my eye with a napkin for dramatic effect. Then I asked, was Haley a mistake too? Dead silence. He looked like he'd been slapped. What? Haley, I repeated. You were engaged to her. Same playlist, same speech, same lies. Should I keep going? His face turned pale. You talk to her. I leaned in. She remembers everything, Mason. The album, the FaceTime, the Sunshine nickname. He stood abruptly. You went digging through my past? That's so messed up, Claire, I scoffed. You cheated on me, lied to me, gaslit me for months, but sure, me finding out is the real betrayal here. He started pacing, rubbing his jaw. Look, I made mistakes. I know that. But I came here to own up to it. Doesn't that count for something? I tilted my head. Let's ask them. He stopped cold. Ask. Who? I walked over to my laptop, opened it, and tilted the screen just enough for him to see. The stream. The viewer list. His mom's name in bold. He stumbled back like he'd been punched. You streamed this? I learned from the best, I said, cold and steady. Or did you forget your little kiss on live video already? He went completely still. Taylor, from the bedroom, let out a soft, triumphant boom. And then his phone buzzed. Again. And again. A flood of texts coming in. He looked down. One was from Sabrina. You're actually pathetic. Don't ever call me again. Another from his sister. Mom is devastated. She says to tell Claire she's better off without you. And the final one? From an unknown number, the same one that tipped me off. Karma. Feels different when it's watching, huh? Mason looked up at me, eyes glassy, face hollowed out. You ruined my life, he said. I smiled. No, Mason, you did. I just made sure you had an audience. I didn't sleep that night, not because I was heartbroken, but because my phone wouldn't stop blowing up. Taylor uploaded the stream privately, at first, but someone in the invite-only group screen recorded it. Within 12 hours, it was on TikTok, with the caption, Girl confronts cheating fiancé with receipts while he begs for forgiveness. His MOM was watching Wedding Wrecked. When I finally opened my TikTok the next morning, it had 147,000 views. By lunchtime, over 800,000. The comments were a mix of queen behavior, run girl run, and justice for Haley and Claire. People were stitching it, analyzing Mason's body language like it was a true crime case. Someone even made a meme of his stunned face with the caption, when you realize karma brought a camera crew. But here's the thing no one talks about when something like this happens. The attention is loud. The loneliness is louder. Yes, it felt amazing to be validated. Yes, I laughed at the memes, but after the adrenaline wore off, I was just sitting in my apartment, surrounded by wedding decorations that now felt like museum pieces from a life that never happened. I started boxing it all up, lace napkins, printed menus, the table numbers I hand-painted one weekend in February. Every item was another punch to the gut. Then, right when I thought I could breathe again, I got an Instagram DM. The name made my blood run cold. Actual Haley Whitmore. Hey Claire, you're not the only one who got messages. I replied instantly. What do you mean? Her response. Another girl. Says she was with him recently, and that he promised her he was breaking up with his fiancé because he wasn't ready for marriage. Another girl. Current. Not an ex. Someone he was still stringing along. I called Haley. She was already talking to the girl. Her name was Petty, a 25-year-old grad student Mason met during his Tahoe weekend, which we now know was a couple's retreat masquerading as a bachelor cleanse. Petty was devastated. She'd believed him when he said the wedding was basically off, that they were just working through logistics. He even told her we were only staying together for family reasons. Family reasons? Like our cat? Or our matching Netflix account. But here's where it gets wild. Petty mentioned something in passing. He said he couldn't be public with me yet because of a clause in the prenup. I froze. What prenup? Oh, I thought you knew, she said. He said it was something you insisted on, like, if he cheated, you'd get everything. His words. That man told his side girl I had him on legal lockdown? There is no prenup. We weren't even married yet. Which means Mason wasn't just a cheater, he was playing a long con. A manipulator with backup lies for his lies. He was using me to justify keeping her a secret, telling her he was trapped while telling me he was devoted. I felt sick, but also empowered. Because now I knew the truth. Mason didn't just cheat. He created alternate realities with each woman, tailored to what they needed to hear. And now, the curtain had finally dropped. I met Petty 2 days later in a coffee shop downtown. She was wearing a Stanford hoodie, no makeup, hair in a messy claw clip. The kind of raw, shell-shocked beauty you only get when someone's been dragged emotionally and hasn't quite found the anger yet. She stood up when she saw me, looking almost nervous, like I might judge her. "I am so sorry," were the first words out of her mouth. I hugged her. "You have nothing to apologize for. He did this. To both of us." She laughed bitterly and gestured to the coffees in front of her. "I ordered one for you. Hope you still drink oat milk lattes. He said it was your favorite." I blinked. "He told you that?" She nodded. "Also said you snored, hated spicy food, and were emotionally high maintenance." I choked on a laugh. "I'm a Capricorn with reflux. That's not being high maintenance. That's being alive." For the next hour, Petty told me everything: how she and Mason met at a Tahoe bar, while I thought he was journaling solo in the woods. How he introduced himself as someone who'd been engaged too young and was still figuring things out. How he used the word victim when describing his relationship with me. She showed me screenshots of their texts. He had saved her as Petty with tree emojis. The same ones from our honeymoon resort welcome gift mock-up. I nearly hurled. Then came the bombshell. "Claire," she said, lowering her voice, "you need to see this. It's from a shared Google Drive folder he gave me so we could swap travel plans." She pulled out her phone and tapped around, then turned the screen toward me. A folder titled Next Chapter. Inside, a scanned copy of an apartment lease for a 1-bedroom in Portland. Photos of Petty's neighborhood. A spreadsheet titled Budget Move July. And one more file. Resignation letter draft. Mason wasn't just cheating. He was planning to move, to start a new life with Petty in Portland, before our wedding date. He was going to leave me at the altar and call it a spiritual reset. Probably post some vague Instagram quote about growth while Petty waited with candles and new furniture at the other end of the coast. "I had no idea," Petty whispered. I thought he was figuring things out, but this? It's sociopathic." I nodded, staring at the evidence in front of me. It finally made sense why he was so flaky about wedding planning, why he joked about eloping, why he said things like, "Let's keep it low stress." He was never planning on marrying me. He was planning on disappearing. Petty and I sat there for a long time, not even talking, just sipping coffee and letting the silence settle over us. And then I said the words that lit the match. "We have his whole blueprint. What do you say we burn it down?" Petty blinked. "How?" I smirked. "Well, he said he was leaving in July, right?" She nodded. "Let's move his timeline up a bit. And this time, we'll be the ones pulling the strings." We called it Operation Closure, not because we needed Mason to give us closure, but because we were about to close the curtain on his entire web of lies. The plan was simple, theatrical, and maybe a little bit evil, but honestly, I've never felt more alive. Petty had access to the shared Google Drive, where Mason stored all his new life plans. I had our wedding guest list, our save-the-date email templates, and thanks to months of planning the master spreadsheet with RSVPs and vendor contacts, together we were a wedding planner's worst nightmare, and Mason's personal reckoning. Step 1. The invite. Using the wedding email account Mason and I shared, he never changed the password. I drafted a new message. Subject: change of plans. A message from the bride. To be hello, friends and family. As you all know, Mason and I were scheduled to get married this June. But recently, I've discovered some painful truths. Rather than quietly cancel and disappear, I've decided to be transparent because love should never come with secrets. Instead of a wedding, I'll be hosting a small gathering on what would have been our big day. Same venue, same time. Only one item on the itinerary: honesty. You're invited if you want to know the truth. Claire Taylor proofread it. Petty hit send. Haley added heart emojis in the group chat. Step 2. The setup: we kept the venue, paid the deposit, changed the florals from white roses to deep crimson peonies funeral colors, Petty said. Seemed fitting. We reprinted the signage. Welcome to the unveiling. Instead of vows, we had a slideshow. Instead of a DJ, we had recorded testimonials. Petty had stitched together audio clips from Mason's voice memos to her, him sweet-talking her while saying our relationship was basically over. Haley added screenshots. Taylor handled lighting and tech because of course she did. We even printed programs. Front cover: In loving memory of Mason's many truths inside, a timeline, Haley, me, Petty, Sabrina, an anonymous Reddit user who DM'd me after seeing the TikTok. Apparently, Mason had been in her DMs while we were engaged. Step 3. The trap. We told Mason the event was back on. Let's keep it small, I'd said in a text. No stress. Just our people. He bought it, said he'd be there. Sent a emoji, like he was the one being gracious. The night before, I barely slept. Not because I was anxious, because I was excited. This time, I wasn't the girl waiting at the altar. I was the one holding the mic. The day of the room was full. Not wedding full, but full enough. My mom was there, clutching my hand like she was watching me become someone new. Haley sat near the front with her sister. Petty wore black. Taylor wore red. Sabrina didn't come, but she sent flowers with a note that said, "Burn it all down." At 5:06 p.m., Mason walked in, wearing the same navy suit he wore for our engagement photos, hair perfectly styled, that performative smile ready to go. He paused when he saw the banner, a celebration of truth. Then his eyes landed on the projector. And me, at the mic. I didn't wait. "Hi, Mason," I said. "I'm so glad you made it. We've all been dying to talk to you." He froze. Taylor hit play. The slideshow began. Mason's voice filled the room, Claire's sweet but exhausting. I think I fell for her idea of me more than the real thing. Petty's just easy. She doesn't make everything complicated. I don't owe anyone an explanation. I'm allowed to live my truth. Each slide, each quote, each date. A precise surgical dissection of his duplicity. He turned pale, then red, then blank. And when the last photo, him kissing Sabrina at the bachelor party, faded out, silence. Until someone in the back muttered, "Yikes," and someone else clapped. One by one, the room followed. Not a standing ovation, but the kind of slow, stunned applause that says, "We see you now. All of you." Mason didn't say a word. He just walked out, didn't even close the door behind him.